Visit LegalZoom.com to save on your legal needs like wills for $69, LLCs for $99, plus filing fees, and also get access to a network of legal plan attorneys for guidance. LegalZoom is not a law firm, but provides self-help services at your specific direction. Enter discount code TMOS for more savings at LegalZoom. That's discount code TMOS.
What the is wrong with Marcus Serta?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for O'MearaCast, featuring Vermont's own Marcus Serta. And now, without further ado, here's Marcus.
Since this obviously will be the love fest of Marcus Serta show on OMearaCast this week, anyway, welcome to the Green Mountain Studios live right now. We are filming on Ustream, and now I can see a picture of myself, which is totally throwing me off. Anyway, this show brought to you by the Mike O'Meara Show's Amazon page. Go there because this is the best time to support TMOS. You're doing your Christmas shopping. Go to MikeO'MearaShow.com/Amazon today and support the show by using the link at MikeO'MearaShow.com/Amazon. Get there, do it today, and, well, everybody, welcome to OMearaCast. And on today's show, live in studio with me, Steve Mermelstein.
Hey now.
Steve is running the Ustream today. He's our technical boy. He is our junior pony. And
minus the sugar gliders.
Do you like sugar gliders?
I've never seen one.
You know what? I didn't know a damn thing about sugar gliders until he brought it up on the show.
Yeah.
Otherwise, so I'm learning like a whole new thing about sugar gliders, even though I think they look like bats.
Yeah, they do have little, kind of wings, almost like a flying squirrel, from what I understand.
And they got those little noses, kind of like a bat. Anyway, also in studio with me, Ethan Desatel.
Hey, how's it going?
On a really awful microphone, and I really apologize for that. But Ethan came down from the Great White North of Vermont, and glad you could join us again. You've been on the show before.
I have. This is my third appearance. I'm excited.
So, how have you been?
Been great. Working in the public school system now, and bought a house. No sugar gliders, but, we're trying, but there's fertility issues.
Nice. And on the phone line with us is Merle Rogers, who is the one-line queen. She was with us at AmeriCon, and let me tell you, she made our day on Saturday, keeping us entertained because I was a little burnt out from the Friday before.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. And Merle, so I haven't seen you since AmeriCon. Since then, what have you been up to?
Well, we have been shopping for houses. We have
my own house.
Well, my mother actually cooked 2 turkeys, one for her and my dad, and then my dad was sick for Thanksgiving, and he couldn't come to my brother's, so she cooked the turkey just for my brother and I to split. So
yeah,
I got a 2-gallon Ziploc bag full of turkey to bring home.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about AmeriCon, since we haven't really spoken since then. What was your favorite part of that show?
My favorite part of the show was the presentations, the slideshows, especially the one taking you around Manassas. That was one of the funniest things I have ever seen.
I think they should put the slideshows on YouTube like they did the opening animation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you can't get the same feeling of them telling you about all of those used tire places unless you use the audio as well, and it won't work.
No, I agree. I'm thinking maybe they should record the voice, over it. They should do a voiceover on that video, on that presentation, and put it out there because, honestly, I would agree with you. Out of all the presentations, it was probably the tour of Manassas, which I thought was the funniest.
You could record anything you want, but you're still not going to capture the magic that was that night.
Oh,
and
I agree.
I know Tripp, wanted the streaming and stuff like that, and they could have put something together, but if you weren't sitting there and you weren't watching them double over with laughter,
yeah,
it just wasn't the same.
No, and I agree. Let me put it a different way. If you're in the mood for a Krispy Kreme, you go there when the sign says hot because that's the perfect time to get the Krispy Kreme donut. But if you're in the mood for a Krispy Kreme and the sign is not lit up, do you just not go?
I don't know. I like Krispy Kreme, so I think I might get a stale one anyway.
See, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking regardless, I think even second best, I think we would still be entertained. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Let's get into talking about this week. As you heard at the beginning of the show, I played a beautiful clip, which I got to say was heartwarming when I heard this week's bonus show.
What the f*** is wrong with Marcus Serta?
Yeah, what the hell is wrong with me? What was I thinking?
You did a nice thing. And how dare you do a nice thing?
You dick.
Damn, you have a life.
I know. Okay, look. I'm not sure that I can explain. I can try to explain this all right now, but I think the best thing to do is to take a second. Let me play this clip from the bonus show where they're busting my balls about the present they got.
So does Marcus...
I'm Marcus. And you want to take a look at my phone? There's nothing on here.
No,
if you look at my phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are no calls from their area. All the calls on my phone have people's names on them.
Yeah.
There's no other separate phone number. There's no unavailable. There's no blocked calls. Nothing like that.
There's no question that they need a dialing wand.
No, what they need to do is set up the phone line to a jitterbug.
Yeah, that would work too. They need something because they're obviously not able to dial that phone ever.
If they had called me, I would have picked up the phone and explained it to them.
Right.
But now, Steve, you're jumping in, but you didn't even hear the show.
No.
You're hearing this clip for the first time. Merle, you heard the show. Let me ask you the question, because there's a certain part of me that's like, you got to talk me off the ledge. I can take a certain amount of ball busting, But it felt like at a certain point it was more than that. Am I wrong?
Yeah. They love to bust your balls. It's one of their favorite things to do.
And I appreciate that. And, bad press is good press, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the fact that I get brought up. I love the fact that they talk about me. The amount of love that I get can be questioned. But outside of that, I sent down 4 4-packs of Heady Topper, and I'm holding it up for the Ustreamer so you can see it. This is it right here, a 4-pack of Heady Topper.
8% alcohol.
8% alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
But did you send a note with it?
I sent a note via Facebook.
Okay, that's not a note with the gift. They're not going to put 2 and 2 together.
Well, that's why,
One person goes to the post office, one person goes to Facebook, and then they're not going to put that together.
Well, that's why, in this particular case, so in the box, and I had to have this box specially packed, but I had the box specially packed, and I was only really able to throw in this card that simply said something about happy anniversary, and I managed to get that into the box. So I sent a Facebook message to Mike, Rob, Oscar is not my friend on Facebook, so I couldn't send it to him, but I sent a note to the guys.
Well, Oscar's not your friend anyway.
That's true. That's true, and he's obviously not a friend of Celine's. I'll talk about that in a second. But, so I sent the note, and obviously Mike got it, and he saw it, and I simply said, happy anniversary, happy holidays, thank you for the support. Short, sweet, to the point. Do we not know as a group, and Ethan, I'm looking at you right now because you haven't spoken up for a little bit, but do we not know that if I had written 6 sentences, that Mike would have probably have complained about the fact that I wrote too much?
Too much, or, where's the line that's drawn? Do you need to include a note that says this is for you to drink? Happy anniversary, and there's beer. That's pretty self-explanatory.
I know.
Was he not aware how in high demand Heady Topper is and what it is? And
No, they're totally unaware, and that's okay. The reason that the Heady Topper was the beer of choice, if you remember, Steve, when we were down there, and Merle was with us too, we went down, we stopped at the Oakland Wine Shop, and I had a conversation with Brian. Brian was aware of Heady Topper.
Mm-hmm.
He was aware of its quality. Now, if you're from Vermont, you know the story. The Alchemist, who happens to be the brewer for this particular beer, had a little tiny small batch brewery attached to a restaurant. Well, Irene came through and wiped them out clean.
Completely flooded.
Completely flooded the place. They had to start over from scratch.
The tropical storm, not the alcoholic.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And so they rebuilt themselves based on this Heady Topper, which is been getting rave reviews.
Mm-hmm.
People are loving it. It's hard to find. It was hard to find. It's more ready now. It's more readily available now. But
they're still buying it on Craigslist for like crazy amounts per case and stuff like that.
I'm not even gonna say publicly how much this costs for a 4-pack.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say it's not the cheapest beer in the world. And I sent it down there with the intent of just saying thank you. Now, if Mike wants to know and he wants more information about it,
can read the can.
Feel free to call me anytime. He's got my number. He can call me anytime. He could.
Well, apparently he doesn't have your number. Or no, wait, Rob doesn't have your number.
Somebody doesn't know how to dial a phone. I still think dialing a phone for these guys is probably one of the biggest challenges they have. But
maybe Oscar will make dialing phones for old people.
That's got to be the next app that I think he has to tackle. But the other thing that got brought up, so again, I thought I was doing a nice thing, and for some reason I just felt like I was being kicked in the teeth. Thanks a lot for making us work or something. I sent you beer. Just say thank you. Let's move on.
You didn't open it and put it on a napkin and a little wedge of lime on it. So you did a half-ass job.
I don't know anything about the beer. I know it's in a shiny little silver can only because I'm looking at it on the Ustream. That's the only thing I know about it, and apparently it's hoppy and tastes like grapefruit.
But if I had sent you a beer, and I just said, happy birthday, happy anniversary, do you really need the full explanation of, like, why this beer is good, where this beer is from, that kind of stuff? Is that the stuff you're looking for? I mean, if it is, I'm more than willing.
Is it a Vermont beer?
Yeah, it's a Vermont beer.
Oh, okay. Well, then, no, not really.
If I send my ex-wife a dozen dead roses and a note that says S&D, doesn't need more explanation than that. Not that I would.
Again.
I just, I think that, especially if they just want some information, I'm happy to take their call. I'm happy to talk it through with them and tell them anything they want to know. But one other thing that came up during that particular discussion was Celine. Now, everybody knows that Celine was the made-up version of my wife. She is, because Mike couldn't remember what her name was, so Celine was born. Now, at the time when it was first brought up, it was very funny. And it's been very funny because Rob kind of turned it into the craft recipes from the aspect of pies. So every time Celine gets brought up, Rob builds some crazy, wacky pie made with possum or something. And I laugh, and I have a funny time with it. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. Oscar makes the comment on the show this week that the movie The Help used one of Celine's recipes. Okay.
But since that movie came out,
I think I got my answer.
Since that movie came out, I do have to admit, every time I hear pie, I think of that movie.
No, it's a great scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it's memorable. It's one of those scenes that absolutely sticks out in your head for all the movies I've ever watched. But at the same time, there was a certain part in my gut that went, did the joke cross a line? Merle, what do you think?
Honestly, I have no idea because I have no idea what. I've never seen The Help.
There's a scene in The Help where the woman who is the help delivers a pie to this woman. She's eating the pie, and then it's revealed as she's eating the pie that she's actually put some of her feces in it.
She was delivering it to a very horrible woman, a woman that,
correct,
that deserved it.
That's nasty.
Yes, it is nasty. It's a very funny. It was very deserving in the movie.
Yeah.
I absolutely think it was totally justified in that particular storyline. But when Oscar made the joke, there was a certain part of my gut that just went, I wonder if we crossed the line. If we went just a little too far.
It's not like he can say Carrie made the pie because Carrie doesn't make pies.
That is true.
He can't say Carla made the pie because Carla's not going to make Mike a pie because she's busy with the baby and, shouldn't be eating pie.
Well.
And Oscar's girlfriend's not going to make a pie because she's apparently keeping it tidy. So Celine was the only one left to make a pie.
I know, and she has awesome pie. So there's going to be no complaints from me about her and her pie, regardless.
And I would just like to say for the record, Rob, you did not get your pie because the State Theater would not let Marcus bring it in. I know this because I was holding the pie.
Thank you, Merle. I appreciate that. I tried.
And the booze.
Man, oh, man. I try. I try and try and try.
You did. And you got left out of the theater because of it.
You're very trying, but we love you anyway.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the pie at the State Theater had a lengthy essay that left an explanation of what the pie was for.
Absolutely.
So there was no misunderstanding.
Absolutely. They would have had a full recipe list.
Yep.
They would have given all the intricacies of the ingredients because the pecans were hand-picked by monkeys down in Georgia. And then the whiskey actually sat in barrels for 300, 400 years, something like that. And
they were capped by monkeys.
Right, exactly. So it was a very special pie that I brought to them. I try to just be a nice guy. And I know Mike is busting my balls, too, about the fact that I know more about the show. I'm just listening. I listen to the show.
And masturbate.
It always comes back to that with you.
I got to get it in sometime.
Well, it's true. You do have a picture of Merle next to the computer.
You know that's not right.
I know. I'm sorry, Merle. Ethan is, bringing the show down. Anyway, all right. Fine. I'm going to laugh it off. I'm going to move on. But if the boys really want to know about the Heady Topper, I'd be happy to tell them about it. And if nothing else, I asked them to call up Brian Gauthier because he really knew about the beer and wanted some for himself. So.
And why didn't Brian speak up about it? Because he was there. He knew what it was. No, wait, he was there Friday.
Yeah, he was there Friday. Yeah. But, I mean, Brian could have told him all about the beer and would have probably been very complimentary. But as we also know, they tried it, and it sounds like Mike and Rob both didn't like it. It was too hoppy for them, so it all went to Oscar's house. That's all right. At least one of the alcoholics took it home. All right, let's take a break. When we get back, I want to talk about today is the 4th anniversary of TMOS. So I want to ask you guys about your thoughts about the last 4 years of TMOS when we get back right here on OMearaCast.
What's up, geeks? We're about to plug in.
That kind of pipe, you know what I'm talking about. Not Super Mario Brothers pipe, but real pipe.
Yeah, if you like your iPad, you like your Android, if you just like to be entertained, Oscar.
Yes.
I think people should tune in.
Yeah, especially if you like to lay pipe.
And if you hate Facebook as much as I do, you will tune in. I know we're listening to the theme song to the social network, but
I'm jacked in.
We want you to jack into the show.
They asked to do some promos from the show. It's called Tech 411. You'll enjoy it. It's not all about tech, but it is, because we like to sprinkle in a little bit of entertainment.
A little bit, a lot of entertainment. Be sure to check us out.
Really lying to the people.
Plug in with us.
Please listen.
Tech 411 show.
We need your help.
Welcome back to OMearaCast, and again, as I said earlier, today, 4th anniversary of TMOS. We all have our reasons for loving this show. Ethan, I'm going to start with you, because I gave you guys this homework assignment before today's show. Thinking back over the last 4 years, and we've already talked on previous episodes about why you love this show, but over the last 4 years, what has really stood out for you about TMOS?
The first thing that came to mind was the first month that these guys were doing the podcast. They went right through the Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
And they did a new show on December 30th, which is my birthday. And that was the first time in all my years of listening to Don and Mike, the terrestrial show for Mike O'Meara, that I had a new show to listen to on my birthday, and that was like the coolest present ever. It was just great. I have to go back. I'm going to go back this year and listen to it.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it since the original, but that was a really big deal for me. And then when they started doing the bonus episodes, just because, it's not about the swearing, but it was really neat to hear them be able to cut loose and really let themselves be themselves even more than they are on the show.
It's about the opening up. We hear stories that we wouldn't hear on the regular show. They've revealed things that they will never reveal on the regular show. I definitely like that level of openness. And at the same time, they've brought some games to the bonus show, like the Newlywed game, which was brilliant. And
the Drunken Newlywed game was one of the funniest things I have ever heard at the Christmas party that one year. That was one of the funniest things I have ever heard. And somebody had the great idea last night to post on Facebook that Carla and Carrie should get a podcast.
Oh, God, that would be amazing.
That's been brought up a couple of times.
Just kept chiming in saying, stop it right now.
It's been brought up a couple of times, and Rob does the same thing. It's like, no!
The other big thing for me was the first show at the State Theater, which was a webcast.
Yep.
And I've never had a chance to see those guys in person in any way, shape, or form. So that was a huge treat. I remember, that was like a Christmas day for me, practically, to be able to go home and check that out.
Come on, they could have thrown you on the luggage rack for the trip down this time.
Merle, I think that Steve would agree with me that that will never happen again. And it was probably better for Ethan that he not join us.
Not without a bus and a bus driver. That's for sure.
Yeah. At least for the ride back. The ride down was great. The ride back was hell. It's pure hell.
Did I mention I love crabs?
Then
Hey, he found the bagel place, didn't he?
Yeah. There was that part of my brain that went, that's between him and his girlfriend, and then the other part of my brain... That was the other part of my brain that said, then you and Steve can go off by yourself.
That's right.
Because I'm not taking that 3-hour detour anymore.
Now, Steve, if you would have called me, I would have said, get off on 83 Apadonia Road and go here. Mm-hmm. I would have told you where to go.
But I listened to you about the bagel place, and we got lost on that trip too.
You could see the bagel place from the parking lot. How could you get lost?
we couldn't find it.
It was literally across the street.
We went there, and there was no bagel place. We drove that whole complex looking for it.
Fine, we were looking at it, and I said, "Oh, there's a bagel place right there," and I even pointed to it when we were in the lobby.
I don't know how we missed it.
Merle, I don't know how it happened, but obviously, for some strange reason, he doesn't have the nose for it.
Well, the Jews did wander in the desert for 40 years. Maybe he's got that gene.
Anything else on your list, Ethan, for the last 4 years?
Much more recent, the baby, the announcement of the king. That was just amazing that they had a baby, and I love the stories every day that they tell about him, and it's just he's a great addition to the show without being on the show.
Kind of seeing a bit of I don't want to say a transformation, but seeing a bit of a shift in Mike. Are you?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we haven't seen Mike be a dad to somebody that young in 16 years.
Well, I'm not even sure that, if we're talking about his daughters, which is now, 18 years ago, I'm not sure they were...
the oldest is 18, the youngest is 16.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't think that he had them nearly as involved. Here, you're dealing with, he's doing the show out of the house, and his life, because he is the center focal point of TMOS, for obvious reasons, this child is much more part of the stories, much more part of his life than I think he was faced with back in the day when he was doing the show with Don.
So he's never gotten this level of intimacy into his life than we are now. That's part of it.
We almost heard you there. Say that again?
I said we have not gotten this level of intimacy from him ever.
That's true.
So he has the opportunity to really, honestly bring us right into his living room.
Agreed. I absolutely agree. Merle, since you're on a roll right now, let me ask you about your look back at 4 years of TMOS.
Well, of course, Mike's son's announcement and his being born. Just when the kids came in. When the kids would come in and sit in when they were off school and it was, daycare at O'Meara's.
Yeah.
Those were fun shows. Honestly, just overall, the level of intimacy that we've gotten from these guys.
Yeah.
That's basically my favorite part of the show at all. Over everything. And
Rob has said it, and he said it recently concerning the live show. His favorite part was after the show, coming out and seeing everybody. And you're right. The level of intimacy, the level of closeness that we feel as listeners to the show is far greater than it ever was before. And I think in part to the fact that the boys put themselves out there. Mm-hmm. Whether it's on Facebook or at the live shows or at the meet and greet.
Tell you what, I was absolutely downright giddy. I will say it. I was downright giddy when I met Rob, when I met Oscar at the, what was it, the Beer and the Pig?
Yeah, the Beer and Pig event at the
Beer
Whole Foods. Yeah.
And when I met Mike, and each of them said, "Oh, Mo Rogers, I know you." It's like, you know me? And
Yep.
that level of intimacy is awesome.
Yeah.
The other thing that, like Ethan said, when they did the show on his birthday, this past year when they did the birthday segments, and they could not pronounce my name, but then it got better because I was shortening it in a month,
Yes.
and then they lost my wedding invitation. I'm still a little sore that I didn't get my Mad Libs back from them.
Oh.
Because my reply card was Mad Libs.
Oh, that would have been. They would. Oh, I can only imagine how that would have gone. That would have been wedding gold.
Mm-hmm.
That is comedy gold right there.
Absolutely.
And Mike loves it when you give him something to do 10 minutes on. They could have had so much fun with that.
Sort of like giving him beer. Here you go. Drink this for 10 minutes. Enjoy it.
Yes, but you have to give them good beer, not crappy beer.
I gave him good beer. Okay, I'm not even
Well,
going down that
apparently
road.
not. It tasted like grapefruit.
Picky. Next time I'll just send scotch. Scotchy, scotch.
Scotchy, scotch.
What else you got on your list?
That's it, because I didn't really do my homework.
The dog ate it.
Well, thank you, Merle.
We went to put up the Christmas tree this morning, and the Christmas tree, looked crappy, so we had to go out and get a new tree. And then we had to get lights to go on the tree because the other one was pre-lit, but none of the bulbs worked. And then we had to come home and set it up, and then the cat was on the tree and in the tree and trying to knock everything down, and then we got tired.
Fine, you're excused.
My God, she just gave me 130 through 150 different reasons why I don't want a tree in my house. Steve, let me go to you. What do you got for the most memorable things about TMOS over the last 4 years?
Well, in the last year, it has to be the whole Todd Moore and Officer Meg escapade. I really thought.
Which has been suggested during the Christmas party.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be possibly in studio, and so therefore they may be back on the mics together.
Sequel! I smell sequel!
By the way, I didn't get an invite. I'm just saying.
Got lost in
Gee,
the
I
mail.
wonder why. You took over the damn studio after how many drinks and tried to do a show? An unauthorized show, I might add.
Look, if you want to go down that road,
You bad little boy.
I was not the guy who led that particular adventure. There was another guy who is no longer with them who helped me. I don't want to say help me, but he's the guy who started it and said, let's do it. And so I went with it.
That is why you failed, because you followed the instigator.
I followed the instigator, who is not there anymore. And so that's probably why I'm on the bad boy list. Steve, what else you got?
The other thing that I thought that, the show is so much more intimate. I've learned so much more about Mike and his family and, his children. And we hear so much more now. And that wasn't a part of all the other iterations of the show. So I really think that that's what makes, the podcast so much better. You really feel like it's someone that a friend, and when you tune in every day and you hear the stories, it's so much closer and intimate.
I would agree. I feel like every time I listen, I'm listening to a friend, like on the bonus show.
A friend that doesn't like you very much.
Maybe a family member.
Like I've listened to those conversations that probably most people are having about me when my back is turned.
Oh, no, we just do it in front of you. That's easier.
No, I appreciate that. With the mic and camera. That's awesome.
But seriously, you guys, that beer he got Mike, lame.
I am going to hit you with one.
Why did he send him some Lawsons?
Because I can only pick up one bottle per week. It's crazy. Anyway, we're not even going to get into that. Anything else on your list?
No, I think of the last year, that was pretty much it. Beyond that, I've been trying to think, and it's not coming to me at this moment.
Let me just put. I can only. There's probably three big things for me. First off, them just coming back to being a podcast.
Yeah.
I remember the day when, and I remember the day when we found out that Frida had passed away. There was a part of my brain that was going, I wonder how long this will last. The show ended, and the Mike O'Meara Show was born, and it continued. But the Mike O'Meara Show went off the air, and I would those people that I was listening to on a regular basis and really seeking out, because here in Vermont, it's kind of come and go.
Yep.
So we've had to seek it out online and try to really get it. When they went and they created the podcast, wow, blew me away. Bringing in Oscar Santana, changing that whole dynamic, I think really brought the show to a whole new level, and it was great from the start, and it only got better. The other things
for them, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, for them to put their trust in Oscar like that, they knew Oscar, they had worked with Oscar, but they didn't know Oscar. It was just one of the guys from the radio who had, 27 jobs.
Right.
But for them to put their trust in him was a big deal, because none of them had ever even thought of doing anything like that. They said in the beginning, they said internet, radio, podcast.
Yeah.
Did people actually listen to that?
Yep.
And it was such a new thing when they did it. Now, everybody's got a friggin' podcast.
Hello. Hi. How are you?
I was going to say, some jackass has a podcast with his wife talking about cooking.
I don't know who that is.
I don't remember his name, but some guy.
Yeah, that jackass. Well, I don't know if I have that show anymore, by the way. But anyway, that's a different topic.
That's because your wife's mad about the pie comment.
No, I don't remember. But anyway.
Your Spokane fan in the chat room brings up a great one, the Florida road trip with Papa.
The Florida road trip was great.
Papa?
I think both road trips, the Iowa road trip and the Florida road trip, were both great. But let me go back to what Merle was saying and putting trust in Oscar. And I would agree, and that's why I say when the new Mike O'Meara Show was born with Oscar as a podcast, you're right. It showed great faith in following what Oscar was suggesting they do. But it really is even more apparent now post-Buzz. Now that we are down to three guys of the original foursome-fisome, we're down to these three guys. They're carrying it. They're making it happen. And it's because of the fact that Mike is absolutely talented. But I think Mike really needs, and I don't want to say needs, but he plays better when he has people that play well with him. And Oscar is the perfect opposition to him, and then when Oscar's not there, Rob can play it. And so between the three of them, it's the perfect triangle, and they play off each other, and they switch roles all the time, and who knows whose scab's getting picked. Most of the time it's Mike's, but it's because of that dynamic that we could continue to listen to this show post-Buzz, PB, whatever you want to call it, and we continue to listen because the strength is in that threesome. And I think that, again, comes back to I truly agree with Merle. It's the trust that Mike has in Oscar and the trust that he has in Rob. And you can tell in that particular dynamic. The other thing, and it's more recent, is the growth of the network, how it's changing, how it is evolving. It was a great honor for me to be able to do OMearaCast after this week in America went bye-bye. Being able to take up the flag a little bit and run with OMearaCast. Tech 411 is a great, funny, little entertaining show. And then now you've got a full lineup of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
How much more laughter do you need in the day? You're going to have Mickey Coachella starting this Monday, 3 p.m.
I cannot wait for Mickey.
It's going to be a great show, and Mickey starts this Monday, and I spoke to Mickey actually yesterday on the phone. He's going to come on OMearaCast. We're going to get to know each other. Hopefully we can talk more about the show, what he plans to do with it moving forward, but before you hear him on OMearaCast, you're going to get to hear his show Monday at 3 p.m. It's going to be awesome. And then I
will warn you right now, Marcus. You think Mike busts your balls? Just wait until you get in an interview with Mickey.
Wah, wah.
He can be vicious, all in the name of comedy, because he doesn't care, and that's why he's so damned funny.
Then what I may have to do is that will have to be a show like I did with the Rob and Joe show, and it will have the explicit tag on it. And then we'll see whether or not I can hold up long enough and I can take it. But no, I agree. He is one of those guys who is a straightforward, solid comic, very funny, and it's because of the fact that he brings a blunt honesty to his observations. I think he's great. And listening to the Rob and Joe show, which is coming up hopefully within the next couple of weeks. They have not announced a specific date yet, but it was their intention by mid-December to be up and running. They're continuing to do their show. If you want to listen to the Rob and Joe show before it officially is on the network, you can hear it live on Monday nights at 7:30. You can catch them on Facebook at Rob and Joe Show or on Twitter at Rob and Joe Show. And those two guys are very funny. And we had a great time talking on OMearaCast a week and a half ago now. And so you've got that. Then we've got Cake and Cookies coming up with Rob and Katie.
I can't wait for that.
Now, I did send a note to Rob the other day, and I asked him when he planned on the start of Cake and Cookies, and his answer to me was early 2014. Now, I'm still curious as to what Cake and Cookies is about. Is it cooking, or is it just a flowery way of these two kind of playing off each other and talking about whatever? I don't know yet. It hasn't been alluded to. This is inside knowledge I don't have yet.
And wasn't it let out this weekend that Rob named the show on Facebook?
It was suggested that Rob named it. I'm not sure. Matter of fact, I think Katie's the one that posted that Rob named it. But I look forward to that.
He might have just been talking in his sleep.
Maybe. It's like, I got to
put... Cake and Cookies. Cake and Cookies. Hey.
He had that empty slide in the slideshow that he had to fill with something. So what am I going to put here?
He was hungry.
Yeah, he was in the kitchen at the time. He's like, I can't choose cake or cookies. Hey, that's a show name.
I'll have both.
Yeah, those are morning show guys. Hi, I'm Cake. And that's Cookie.
Yeah, I'm Cookie.
Good morning, everybody. This is the Cake and Cookie Show.
Wah, wah. But you have to have sound effects.
Yes, absolutely. So we've got Cake and Cookies coming up. And then, of course, Tony Perkins joins the network next year. From my understanding and talking to Tony at OMearaCon, we're talking about early spring. I haven't gotten any other updates from Tony, but if you haven't checked out, if you don't know who Tony is, and you should from listening to the show, I highly recommend that you follow him on Twitter. At Tony Perkins TV.
He's very funny.
He is very funny. He does bring some of that comedy out in his Twitter feed, as well as the fact that because he's a news guy doing an evening news program, he'll also give you those updated news articles. Matter of fact, I found out about Nelson Mandela from him before I found out from somebody else. And I'll also say this, and this is just speaking about Tony in general. So this past week, it was announced that the 911 calls for Sandy Hook were going to be released. CNN was saying, they're explicit. They're right here. You can listen. Another network, matter of fact, our local paper, the Burlington Free Press, said that they were going to put it out there and it was explicit and all of that. And I sent a note to Tony just asking on Twitter, why is it necessary? What is the news reason for putting this out there? And I won't get into it, but the fact is Tony responded to me. And I was able to have a back and forth with him, and that's what I love about Tony is that he interacts with the listeners. He interacts with those people on Twitter. So feel free and please follow him, Tony Perkins TV on Twitter. He's a great guy. So these are the things that I think are upcoming, happening, and the things that over the last 4 years I think are the best parts of TMOS. The fact that they're here and they make me laugh when I need them to laugh, except for the bonus show. It didn't make me laugh.
Speaking of bonus shows, buy your bonus show package now.
That's right. It is that time of year. You can get your VIP package by going to MikeO'MearaShow.com and going to the members page, and you can buy your VIP package, get your VIP-ness, and
can do it in 2 clicks.
2 clicks. It is really quite simple, and you're going to get access to so much content that you've never had access to before. It's fantastic.
It's insane. As my wife once said to me, it's a very impressive package.
No, she didn't. Don't lie.
I gave her $1.
Well, then she'll say it.
Yeah.
Ethan's got to pay for those commentaries. All right. With that being said, let's take another break. When we get back, I want to talk about a trip to Jamaica by our man Oscar. When we get back right here on O'MearaCast. Welcome back to O'MearaCast, and as everybody knows, this last week, Oscar returned from his trip to Jamaica. I'm going to play this clip when he's talking about the interaction he had with his family.
I dropped it on anybody with the left hook, and then the right hook was my brother as he backed me up because I saw him like thinking about it for a little bit, and then he was like, no. Like, he's not going to go anywhere. He doesn't do the things we do. You know, we don't have he doesn't have regular schedules. He can't.
You don't have kids either.
Yeah, and I don't have kids.
So you can go on a vacation. Did Luca burst into tears?
Luca had left the table by that point, which was great.
Do you have?
And then when I hugged Luca at night before he was going to bed, like around 10, I said, "Okay, Luca, I'll see you during Christmas." He's like, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Dad," Tio Oscar's got to go on a business trip."
You lied to the boy.
Oh, yeah.
You are so racked with guilt.
Oh, yeah.
You are so
big business trip.
You are so racked with guilt.
Closing a deal.
Full of rum and ganja.
So there's Oscar. He went to Thanksgiving, but I'm going to ask it in the Marcus way.
Such a tough life he lives.
And I'm going to ask this in a way that I know one of our guests will answer. Have you ever avoided a family event?
Hello?
No?
No. I'm not avoiding a family event right now as I sit on the phone with O'MearaCast.
Not really?
Nope, not me.
This is being recorded before you go to a family event.
Sure. We'll just go with that. Oh, yeah, because, my family listens.
What was the big problem? Why are you trying to avoid going and seeing your family on this holiday occasion?
Well, my husband didn't want to go to his sister's Christmas party / her husband's birthday party because it's an hour away, and it didn't start till like 7, and that means we won't get home till like 11, and he's on the couch watching football already asleep.
Why is that clip that Rob plays of the Jewish Thanksgiving going off in my head, where that one, you live in the middle of nowhere. You don't live in a family.
You live in the middle of nowhere. You have to wait for everyone to get here to cut the turkey. God, I love that movie.
But at least you went out of your way to just not show up. So they can cut their turkey whenever they want to.
Oh, no, we didn't go out of our way. We did very little.
Have you ever really, no, I'm busting on Merle a little bit, but has there been an occasion for you, Steve, where you've avoided an occasion that you should be at? It's either a family reunion or something of this nature that you should be at, but you just say, my mother just died and I can't go.
On the advice of legal counsel, I must plead the fifth. No, many times. When before I moved to Vermont, I lived in Florida, and we had a lot more family close around. And in that clip that they played, the Jewish Thanksgiving, that I've literally lived that, heard that, many Thanksgivings, and it comes to the point where I kind of feel, they always say, the saying, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. Well, I've chosen my family. There's parts of my family I just choose not to be around anymore, and life is better for it. I don't regret it.
I can agree with that 100%. Ethan, I got a different question for you, though.
Sure.
Because listening to the clip, one of the things that's brought up from Oscar's brother is Oscar never takes a vacation. He doesn't go anywhere or do anything. I seem to remember China.
Wasn't there a trip to China?
Mexico.
China was a business trip.
Come on now.
China was a business trip.
What about Mexico?
It doesn't count.
How about the Santa Claus to Phoenix?
Those don't count either.
How about Las Vegas?
I don't know. No, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
There was the overnighter to New York. I know that was work, and he chose to do the overnighter up and the overnighter back. But it feels like to me that he occasionally gets out of town.
Yeah, as someone who really hasn't had a vacation away in quite a while, I really had a hard time sympathizing with that argument for Oscar in particular, because any trip to China, business or otherwise, qualifies as going away. And,
definitely.
Yeah.
The plane ride alone.
He needed suits. He didn't want to go through the middleman. He went right to the guy.
Agreed.
He got his shark skin suit, and he's happy.
Now, I'm not saying that Oscar does not deserve a vacation or shouldn't go on vacation by any means. It leads me down a road of thinking, what is he telling his family that they believe that he's not doing these things?
Well, given the fact that they're no longer taking the entire month of December off like they used to, I cannot, criticize them at all.
I would agree. That is true. With the podcast, they have probably done more shows, and they are doing more shows than they ever did when they were on contract at CBS, because they had, 4 months of vacation every year?
At least. It seemed like more. I used to hear best of, it's like wah-wah.
It's like it's the week before Thanksgiving. We're off the air until New Year's.
Right.
Something like that. I don't know. And then there was a 3-week break in summer and some other vacation maybe. I don't know. But I mean, that's just what it brought up for me, really, was what is the stories that's being happening? Is he bending down to all of his family members like he did his nephew and saying, Uncle Oscar is going to work now? And they all believe it. When he's out there with Todd goofing off. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Another one that got brought up for me. Mm-hmm. Remember when he went down to Miami with
right. Yeah.
And he got into the trouble with Todd? Mm-hmm. There we go. There's another one.
The strip club, yeah.
My God, he's taken more trips out of town than in the last 4 years than I have.
Mm-hmm.
Business or otherwise.
And he does go...
But they're only
I'm just jealous.
1 or 2 days. It's not a vacation.
And boy, does he go away with Todd a lot. What's up with that?
Well, we already know what's up with that.
Power couple.
We're not supposed to discuss it.
Well, let's talk about some other behavior that I found interesting, but yet not. I'm trying to think of the exact word. My brain just went blank as I went for it. Screw it. Let me just play this clip, and you'll know for yourself.
I would say 4 out of 5 days on this radio program, you leave your phone on.
I know.
And
I know.
What's the number one rule of having a radio show and when you get into showtime mode?
Right.
Silence all phones.
I never silence my phone.
No, you never do.
We
do that at radio shows and at the Alamo Draft House.
Right. So I'm fumbling with it, and I cannot switch it off. I don't know what's going on. And then what happens? I drop it. I drop it. And it is sitting on the ground.
It's still ringing.
It is down there ringing, and I am just... And I'm like, oh, my God! I dropped the phone like an ass!
I don't know which part of this to tackle first. Should we tackle the part where...
Oh, no, my phone's going off. Can't stop it.
Ass. Yeah, nice. Look at. Oh, and of course, it's a Star Trek theme because he's a total geek.
Yes, emissary.
Bad enough that I recognize it.
Hey, you recognized my notification for my text.
That is true, too. I am a geek, too. I just try to keep it hidden. I don't have my ringtones and text tones set to all those beautiful sci-fi sounds that I love. Have you... I'm about to ask it in another Marcus way. Have you ever gone to a theater and had a douchebag in front with their phone on during the movie? Steve.
Many times. That's, part of the reason I do not go to movie theaters is I can't stand all the distractions, that occur at them. It just drives me insane.
Now, is this when you go to the adult films or when you're going to a normal film?
A normal film. I've never been in an adult theater.
BS.
Oh, I never have.
Can I bring up we're recording in a town where there used to be an adult drive-in?
That is true. How about you, Ethan?
I want to point out I made sure to turn this off coming in here tonight, based solely on Mike's experience at the theater.
Very good, thank you.
And I leave it in the car when I go to movie theaters because I'm just scared to death that somehow it's going to magically turn itself on.
It is the new phenomenon. It's been driving me crazy. Now, I know that you'll hear a lot of comedians joke about, and this is going to probably sound really bad coming from a white boy in Vermont, but when I am in New York City and I'm in a multicultural theater, there is a particular culture that decides they want to talk through a film, not only on their phone, but they are actually talking to the film.
No, don't go in there. Don't open that door.
But here in Vermont, what I find, it's the teenagers or the college kids with their damn phones, and they won't turn them off. And so I'm the type of guy who sits about halfway back, center. I have to be properly seated. I am the Sheldon of theaters, This is my seat. And I sit there, and there's always some douchebag in front of me who's got a text in the middle of it, and he's trying to hide it underneath, but that glow is always coming up into his face.
There's always a pack of, teenagers, texting each other, and giggling every 2 seconds.
It drives me crazy. That's why I know what theater area to go to. Merle, have you experienced this when you go to theaters?
Honestly, people around here are pretty good about it. Maybe I only go to theaters that don't have retarded kids or something, but I think in the last 2 years, there have only been like 3 times I've seen a phone light up in the middle of a movie, and trust me, they get put in their place very quickly. And so quick I don't even do it. Somebody else does it.
Well, I think I really want to check out this Draft House. I can't remember the name of it.
Alamo Draft House.
The Alamo Draft House. It is founded by a guy. The only reason I know about the Alamo Draft House is because I follow Badass Digest on Facebook.
Okay.
Because one of their writers, Devin Faraci, used to work for a site called Chud.com, which is where I get a lot of my movie news. Devin was hired by the Alamo Draft House to basically start their online presence. They have a great website that does everything from pop culture to movie news to television to, geek culture, whatever.
Yeah.
And the guy who started it is just passionate about films. Not your blockbusters, but the creation of films. He loves film festivals. They do a lot of film festivals at the one in Austin, which I'm pretty sure is a flagship.
Yeah,
theater.
that's the original one. Is in Austin.
And they do. You hear Doug Benson has movie interruptions there a lot, and actually one around the country he goes to. And they love the experience of movies. And I would love to go to an Alamo Draft House.
Just so that I'm clear.
About the talking, if you Google Alamo Draft House no talking PSA, the first thing you're going to come up with is don't talk, angry voicemail, uncensored. It is the promo that they show at the Alamo Draft House. It is a voicemail of a girl who got kicked out for using her cell phone.
Wow.
It is one of the funniest things I have ever seen.
I will have to check that out.
And she's maybe made it to 8th grade.
Well, it's definitely a place that I want to check out. I know I heard about it the first time on Big O and Dukes. Chad goes there religiously and loves that place, but I didn't hear about it in such detail until this story as Mike was telling his experience being there. I'm surprised, based on what we've heard, that he didn't get thrown out on his keister.
Oh, yeah. That really did surprise me because, I've been to the original, not the original in Austin closed, but the new flagship one in Austin. And they are extremely strict. I was there during South by Southwest, a big tech conference, and as you can imagine, everyone has iPads and iPhones and all kinds of electronics and Google Glass and all that. And there were a lot of people getting thrown out, during that convention.
But I also had this picture when he talked about them taking his phone away and put it in a baggie. Yeah. Of seeing like a coat room filled with these hangers with the little baggies on it.
That's exactly what they have. These little lockers too, for you can lock your gadgets in it.
Wow. I gotta check this place out. It sounds really like quite a lot of fun.
It's not a first run movie place. It's more of independent films and smaller stuff, or like Q&As and like different.
But that sounds great.
But it is fun. It is neat.
It's the sort of place, if we had one around here, I'd spend all my money there, I think.
I think I probably would too.
I wouldn't go to another theater. I would exclusively go there.
Yeah, I think I would too. Unfortunately, Vermont is still a little limited in its theaters. I still have to drive 3 hours to get to an IMAX screen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the 3/4-inch IMAX, which they call T-Rex here in Vermont, but that's about it. I think they're still trying to install the Dolby surround sound around here. I don't know. This place is a little behind.
Shelburne, the Shelburne Road one, I think.
I'm just joking. Yeah. I mean, there's some good theaters here. It's just a matter of we don't have the variety that you do in the big city.
There are a couple that are about to get color, as I understand it. Really exciting, yeah.
Well, but the story that Mike told when he was talking about going to that theater and having that particular experience, can you imagine? And I'm looking at Ethan right now, and I'm going to ask you about probably your most embarrassing moment, because in my gut, thinking about what Mike went through in that moment when his phone is ringing and he's in the middle of the theater in a place that we all know is, like the soup Nazi of film, no film for you. And his jaw had to drop and his guts had to drop and he just had to feel awful.
And don't forget, he was an invited VIP.
That's probably what kept him from getting kicked out. He was on a guest list.
That's probably the only thing that stopped him from getting kicked out.
Yeah, probably. How about you, Ethan? I mean, what can you name an embarrassing moment where you felt that much dread?
Yeah, so I'm going to go back through the sands of time, probably 28, 29 years, waiting for the school bus. I think I've got a fart.
Oh, dear God, no. Oh, dear God.
Nope. The other thing happened. So I'm frantically cleaning up and changing. The bus shows up. My sister gets on the bus and tells everybody,
"Oh no,
my brother will be right here. He asked his pants." And so the kid that sat at the front every day was he had special needs.
Okay.
I get on the bus, already feeling quite a bit of shame and embarrassment, and he looks at me and goes, "Ethan, did you ass your pants?"
Oh, God.
Did you get a nickname because of it?
Well, I was already called S-head, so no.
Steve, how about you?
No, luckily I've been hit by the lucky stick. I haven't had one of those yet.
We'll fix that.
You're an effing liar.
Yeah.
You are such a liar. Okay, Merle, I know you have had a moment.
No, I'm pretty much perfect.
Now, wait a minute. I just exposed one of the most terrifying moments in my life, and neither of you are gonna expose yourself.
Oh, come on. Sharding your pants isn't terrifying.
You have joined the club of pants charters,
Yeah.
which I believe include Mike O'Meara, Oscar Santana, and Rob Spiewak.
Yep.
And the weatherman at NBC. What's
And
his name?
Al Roker.
Al Roker, yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
right.
but he
In the
did
White
it-
House.
He did it at the White House. He had class.
I'm moving up the Billboard charts.
All right.
Well,
Well,
honestly, I really can't think of any time where I've been that embarrassed. I mean, certainly I've hung out with people that have embarrassed me.
that was the Saturday of OMearaCon.
Well, some of it, yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, I will move on, and let's talk about the exciting new contest that is happening on TMOS right now.
The TMOS 12 Days of Fruitcake, the only way you can get them. Here's how you enter. Go ahead. Enter.
Madonna.
Yeah. Send us an email to, now you got to write this down,
Yes, this is going to be tough to remember, Oscar. You may want to jot it down.
fruitcake@MikeO'MearaShow.com.
That's right.
Make sure to include your name, your mailing address, and a sentence or two as to exactly why you want a fruitcake this holiday. That's right. You have to sing for your supper. You have
Right.
to earn the fruitcake.
Exactly.
50-word limit, please. Also include your phone number. Because you see, we've got this brand new phone.
Yes.
And we want to call you. A select few of you may be notified live on the podcast.
You know you're going to call everybody.
So be aware.
Yeah.
We may call you. We will accept email entries starting right now.
Wait a second.
Whoa.
When do we start accepting entries?
People are watching us. There are a select few that are watching us on streaming video right now.
Yes.
And you can give us your emails.
Right now.
Right now.
Hold it. What's the address? I forgot.
That's fruitcake at MikeO'MearaShow.com.
You know what's great is I actually checked the email box this morning. It's up and running, and when you reply from it, it says you've received an email from Fruitcake.
Right.
Okay, for the contest, 2 or 3 sentences. If you send beer, it's got to be a full essay.
And when they misdial you, do you still get the fruitcake?
They did that on Friday's show. They called the guy, and he didn't pick up. By the way, I don't recall it going to voicemail either.
And that's exactly why I did not send an email, because I didn't want to be the dick who didn't answer his phone.
So you haven't entered the contest.
I have not. I work at a school, and there's no way I would be available to answer.
Steve, have you entered?
I did enter, yes.
You're going to lose. Merle, how about you?
I entered, but I have no chance of winning because Rob knows that I have a nut allergy.
Well, I'm sorry for your husband.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for people to get a sample of his fruitcake. I have no idea because I've never tried it. What the hell am I talking about?
I've never even tasted a fruitcake ever. So I really would love a chance to win.
Listening to Rob talk about the process of making it, the steps that he goes through, the time and care that he takes to make it all happen, I'd love to try it. I have not ever really been a fan of it in general, but then again, my grandmother made it, and she made a lot of great things. Fruitcake was not one of them. Then again, fruitcake for her was really a dried out piece of like bread.
Brick.
Yeah, it kind of looked like a meatloaf with
A
weird.
meatloaf that somebody sneezed confetti on.
There you go.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah, every time I've seen a fruitcake, it looked like a brick, with little red dots in it, so.
But according to Rob, he is soaking his for a long
Sounds
period of
really
time
good.
in some really delicious liquor.
And I love cherries. I really love cherries. So it sounds mouth-watering.
Have you ever had spotted dick?
What is that, lamb or sheep?
I know what that is.
Sheep
and I'm not going there with you right now. No, it's a cake. It's a cake with raisins in it.
And it's usually baked like in a previously used can, like a bean can or something.
Well, okay, if you buy spotted dick, it comes in what looks like the size of a Heinz tomato can.
Yeah.
And so you open up the top of the can, and yes, you can heat it up in the can, but it's like a yellow cake with raisins in it. But anyway, not as good.
It is actually Heinz brand spotted dick.
Oh, that's right. It sure is. Boy, it's been a long time since I've had spotted dick.
Well, I shop at Wegmans, so I know what the exotic stuff is.
And according to what I heard you say at the pharmacist the other day, you might be suffering from it right now.
Ethan will never be on the show again. Anyway.
It was nice meeting you, Ethan.
Yeah, it was nice knowing you, pal.
Stop mailing me beer, goddammit.
So please, I encourage you to try. Send your emails in, and I would love to hear the feedback from people once they try Rob's famous fruitcake. I'm sure I won't get one.
Rob actually gave me the recipe a few weeks ago.
No.
Yep.
Really?
Wow.
Can I get a copy of it?
I asked him on Facebook, I said, I remembered on the old show for the first couple weeks of December, you gave out one line of the recipe every day. And I cannot find the page that I wrote it all down on.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
And he said, you want me to send you the recipe? And I said, sure. So he copied it and pasted it right into a message into Facebook. He gave me the 2012 doubled recipe. And he told me to have the recipe. It'll save my wrists.
Wow. I did not realize that it was public domain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
I don't know if he will give it to everyone, but I asked and he gave it to me. I think he sent it to. I think he actually posted it.
Well, unfortunately, Celine is too busy making S-pie for anybody, for her to have time to make any of his fruitcake. But I'd love to hear from people. I've only heard from the boys how good it is. I'd love to hear from some actual listeners who sample it, what they think of Rob's fruitcake. It does sound delicious by the process that he goes through. Mm-hmm. Time, care, and consideration. So
I think Trip got one last year, and he said it was magnificent.
I'm sure Trip and Tab get one every year.
Must be nice.
And remember, send your emails to spotteddick@omeracast.com to get your free spotted dick.
Nice. From Ethan. He'll show up at your door.
I will share my spotted dick with you,
Jeez.
ladies.
You really should get that checked out.
It tingles.
This is why I went to a different format, Merle, and now I'm considering whether or not I should change back.
Wop, wop.
Tell me about it. All right, guys. Listen, I am through. I have covered everything that I wanted to cover. Anybody got anything they wanted to share on this week's episode of OMearaCast before we're out of here?
Well, for the holiday season, I did come up with a craft recipe.
I was hoping you would forget that. But I knew that you wanted to bring it up. So
how many penis strokes are in that?
All right. Ethan emailed me earlier this week and said that the one thing that he wanted to do on this show was he wanted to bring his craft recipe. So, okay, Ethan, here's your chance. Tell us, what is your recipe for today by Kraft?
I'm going to try this in my best announcer's voice, but I make no guarantees. Does Christmas time mean sad time for you? Do holiday greetings get returned with a punch in the face? Would you rather eat a bullet than eat a candy cane? Take heart. Why, even grumpy old Krampus himself can't help but smile when he tries a mouthful of Granny Desautel's desiccated holiday depression balls. Start with 2 parts smoked salmon-flavored vodka and 1 part holy water. Add 3 ounces shaved German chocolate, a pinch of paprika, and 2 tablespoons of gunpowder. Mix in the hollowed skull of a two-headed calf. Let rest for 2 days. Meanwhile, mix 1 cup of crushed dreams with a quart of Johnson & Johnson baby oil. Rub all over your body and then roll in cornstarch. With the bathtub drain plugged, shower while sobbing uncontrollably. Once out of the shower, add 33 seedless grapes, the dried crust from a mayonnaise lid, 2 bottles of Goya brand guava soda, and a sneeze from a teenage goat to the lukewarm water. Strain into a mason jar and freeze. Shave your cat, stuff its hair into a stressed doll in the shape of your ex-wife, and throw it off the local pier. Return to your calf skull and mason jar concoctions and cover with Kraft Baby Marshmallows. Throw it all away, eat 25 McDonald's holiday pies, and smoke a pack of Lucky Strikes. Another holiday favorite from Kraft.
Jesus Christ. Okay, Ethan.
Hi.
Let's leave the comedy to the professional, shall we? God. My God, I thought he was going to go for 30 minutes on this. A lamb skull? Is that what you said?
No.
And by the way, you broke my microphone.
I know. It's a two-headed calf skull.
A two-headed calf skull.
And the sneeze from a teenage goat.
Jesus. He is a disturbed individual. And another ex-wife joke in there.
I know.
How's therapy going?
It's just fantastic. It feels so good.
All right.
You mean this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is therapy.
Well, you've broken my microphone.
I know.
Merle is sick of us. Steve is zoning out like an Oscar. So I think it's time to go. Merle, thank you for coming on OMearaCast this week, and it was so great to see you at AmeriCon.
It was wonderful to hang out with. Honestly, it was great hanging out with you guys, and I really do appreciate you guys making me, the sixth member of the gang for the day, or for the weekend, actually.
I don't seem to remember giving a choice.
No, you didn't have a choice. That's what made it so much fun.
Well, you kept us laughing the whole time.
Oh my God! Did she? I mean, one-liners throughout the day, and
the good ones. And funny.
For me personally,
kept tossing these softballs. What was I supposed to do?
That is true. You were tossed a lot of softballs that day, and in my condition, it was easy to do. But it's great to talk to you again. Thank you for everything. You are an absolute P1, and I hope to talk to you soon on Facebook.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Merle. Steve, thanks for coming on the show this week and helping out with the tech, getting us up on Ustream. Ethan, thanks for coming down from the Great White North.
Absolute pleasure.
Enjoying civilization while you're down here.
Did you know it's Christmas?
It's getting there.
Yeah.
It's getting there. All right, everybody. Well, this has been another great episode of OMearaCast.
Yeah, it was all right.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, we will talk to you guys next week. As I said, I've reached out to Mickey Coachella. We might have him on next week. Otherwise, Steve and I will be back with 2 other guests on OMearaCast, and we will talk more about TMOS, more broadcasting, Tech 4-in-1, all the shows of the More Broadcasting Network. For those of you who are downloading it on iTunes, you're going to be listening to a little bit of Rob Radio right here on OMearaCast. Bye-bye, everybody.
Adios.
See ya.
Okay.
And Merle throws in the last one. Well done.
Yay!
We're out. We're done.
That's my